Just want to share with you today a little story about a particular batch of Momotaro fish that I have here at Koi Wholesale at the moment, and how I come to get these, and a little bit of history about the farm itself. Now, for those of you who don't know, and you'd have to be pretty new to koi keeping I think to not know it, Momotaro Koi Farm is one of the top three, or considered the top three, the big three if you like. You've got Sakai, Dainichi, probably just slightly above in regards to kind of show caliber and thingy, but then we've got Momotaro sat there in regards to scale. But Momotaro did create their own niche many years ago, and these were really the guys that started making jumbo a commonplace, common thing in koi keeping itself. Now, they've got some famous lineages, primarily the big one, which is Mako Kohaku. This was the foundation of pretty much everything at Momotaro. We've got Mako Sanki and then Mako Showa that came after it. And the genetics of these things are superb. These things were making jumbo, like I said, before everyone else. You know, they Go Sanki there, a meter, became so common. They were doing it more than anybody else at the time, producing all the varieties, mainly Kohaku and Sanki to begin with, but these were the guys that inevitably came along and also corrected the issues with Showa by crossing the Mako Kohaku blood into Showa. And what that basically did was corrected the body type. So it made it more elongate, less powerful over the shoulders and belly region. And yeah, gave them the potential when they went and produced Lion Queen over a meter, it won the All Japan Koi Show. So phenomenal things, all about genetics, and they've had a lot of continuity and stability in these lines for a long time now, and are regarded as one of the modern day prominent bloodlines out there. So yeah, a lot going for it. And many years ago, when I first started Koi Wholesale, I think a couple of years in, we was getting great access to, we were buying a pond of tosai there every year for a few years, until the inevitable thing happened. Asian demand was growing more and more, and the price of the fish kind of almost doubled the next year when we went back, and that kind of drew an end to that. Plus, I also like to chop and change what I'm doing and not repeat things too frequently. Therefore, we walked away from that for a while, and ever since then, demand at the farm has just skyrocketed, and getting fish there is not easy, and often it takes pretty big deals to do it, especially to get the affordable stuff. You can access fish individually in the auctions, but my God, they carry some prices. So as a farm, they're probably one of the ones leading the way in male fish production. So as far back as I can remember, they've been having these really big bodied, giant, big growing male Go Sanki. And I would say even to this date, they're the ones still probably leading the way in that. To be honest with you, you can even see at times people willing to pay more there for a male fish than they will a female, because of the body type that they can produce and the size they know they can get. It's quite phenomenal, and hence, you know, it kind of really just validates the quality and the jumbo genetics that are in this lineage. So back in December 2022, I had a journey down there. It'd been quite a while, and I was actually lucky enough, it was really good time, and I was with a client. That was the main reason for going there, who was looking for some really exceptional fish. I was presented the client's fish, an amazing Ginrin Kohaku was opened up as well. This fish was just bonkers. That's another variety they've also mastered the jumbo side of. Ginrin Kohaku, they've made them bigger than anybody else, which is, you know, a tough thing with Ginrin Go Sanki. So yeah, managed to obtain a superb piece for that. Was also shown an exceptional male fish, which honestly, guys, Kohaku was just absolutely dreaming, would grace any collection anywhere in the world. And yeah, as that business concluded, I went for a browse, and sure enough, it was just perfect timing, because there was kind of nobody there. There'd not really been anybody there, and they had all new tosai opportunities available, which was very exciting. And I managed to obtain 2 batches. One was a full pond that we later sold to a client, and then the other was allow me to do something I don't often do these days because of the way we buy fish. And yeah, it was a brand new pond and not even been slept yet, which is the process where they actually induce them into a sleeping sickness state to help them get immunity to the virus. It was that new, and yeah, I had the opportunity to handpick through them. So really exciting stuff. Like I say, not something I do all the time now, because when I often buy full batches or very big batches of fish, but given the price level here, that wasn't going to be an option. I just didn't want that many. The opportunity to have the whole pond netted and work through them was absolutely dreamy for me. So yeah, ended up getting a price agreed. The whole pond was netted up, and I went through every single fish in there. Literally not one was missed. I think in the end I managed to select about 118 pieces, I think it was. Absolutely amazing. I was so impressed with the quality level that I got. Primarily kohaku, probably about 80-90%, because the farms, the sankey numbers never seem to be that much, even though I'm a big fan of Momotaro sankey. But yeah, I was blown away with what I got. I think size-wise, they were probably around 15 to 18 cm at the time, possibly the odd few a bit bigger. And yeah, as I do, very thoroughly went through. And yeah, I don't like to leave much in the pond, so I didn't have a number in mind. I just selected what I thought was good, got that done. Then in the bowl I've got, just have another look through in case anything needs rejecting that I've missed first time round. And in the end, it was deal done. So unfortunately, they didn't get shipped as fast as we hoped, which caused a bit of a delay, but they were held at the farm, but only held. They weren't being raised properly. They did get a bit of growth because of the temperatures, but they weren't given any colour food or anything like that. So when they eventually arrived, I think it was about April of 2023, so they'd stuck a bit of size on, but the colour had gone, especially the belly, gone really soft. Skin looked great, they look great in general, did need beefing up, but that's normal with any fish after shipment. But yeah, we got them quarantined, got them settled, and then they were originally in a 1,200 gallon pond. And when we got to it, I saw them, really steadily coming on. I was quite focusing heavily on bringing the colour standard back, because I knew that needed to catch up. So feeding a heavier proportion of colour food in the pond. And slowly, bit by bit, saw them coming round and just saw the signs of that Momotaro magic in them. So in the end, the pond got to a point where it was just too full and I needed to act on it. So went through, there was a few that suffered some colour loss, which again is quite normal given that they were toe-side. So yeah, got rid of a few of them at that point, but my intention was not to sell any of these fish yet. They've just been for personal enjoyment for quite a while, seeing where the line's at now versus when I used to have it. And even when I had them back in the day, I didn't have the opportunity to raise them. So I wanted that time this year to really see what I could do with them, given where we're at with all the raising at the moment. So I went through the batch, like I say, took some out that needed selling off. They went, and then we were left with 2 batches. And what I actually did was put the fish that seemed to be the bigger fish were left behind in the 1200k pond. There wasn't many. And then I took the average size stuff and moved that into a pond where I actually also introduced some Dainichi fish and some Sakai Sankey. Now, admittedly, in the end, I overstocked that pond. Completely my fault. Just too many good fish around that I didn't want to let go at this moment, but it has hampered it, and the pond's performance hasn't been the best. I still have those fish. We're just working on the pond at the minute. It had a thin out recently, a few weeks ago, which has really helped, but still it's not performing its best. So we're going to be moving the pond where I've got one with much more filtration on to allow them to grow through to the end of the season, because there's some really high potential prospects in there. Well, the particular batch we're going to look at the end of this video were the ones left behind in the 1200 gallon pond. I think there was around 30 to 40 fish in there overall, so quite lightly stocked by our usual standards. But my God, the development of these things was just mind-blowing. They're still now, I think we're sat around 30 to 40 cm as Nisai, so obviously not massive Nisai, and certainly not by Momotaro standards, but you have to remember the journey that they've been on. They've not really been allowed a really full growing season in the kind of environment they would want to be. So if we get these fish, with a winter grow on, by the time it comes through to spring, they're going to be, perfectly normal size Momotaro Nisai. It's not that we've been trying to push them all summer and they haven't grown. It's just the environment and the circumstances which has led to being where they're at. However, they have grown, and the size, the body development in them has just been stunning. Me and Chris were talking about them, and I think different is the word that we've used, and they do just seem different, bearing in mind we've had Sakai and Dainichi fish on site for quite a while now, and we've seen how they're doing. These really stand out. The big thing standing out, in all fairness, is just this extreme power in the body, male or female. So yeah, really happy with the result of the fish that's come out. Like I say, there's still some dotted around we're going to be continuing with, but say if you've not been introduced to this lineage, I think a Momotaro fish amongst your collection is probably a must, because you will notice vast difference to anything else you've got in how these fish actually grow and perform overall. So yeah, we'll have a look now at the results of the harvest of this pond, and I'm sure I'll be back with some more updates in future on the rest of the fish as they come to fruition.
Right, so here we are. These, I think me and Chris have just been discussing it, and different is the word that I'm going to use, because this year we've been growing Dainichi fish, we've been growing Sakai fish, and these Momotaro fish. Now, not forgetting that these have only spent a few months really being pushed in a 1200 gallon pond, relatively lightly stocked compared to what we normally do, but just looking at what's in front of me, yeah, I'm excited. As I say, it's been a long time since I've had Momotaro fish back, not the easiest things to get either, but yeah, looking at what's in front of me here, there's a long exciting journey ahead of these ones now. You can't forget that they're not massive sizes for Nisai. That's because of how they've been raised. They've not actually had that long growing either since they arrived from the shipment. So yeah, I mean, when you know the history, it's all right. It's not like they've had a long summer, been pushed hard and not grown. That's not the case. It's just the conditions that we've had, the pond space, everything that we've had has not given them the time and the space that they truly deserve. But when we look at what's in here, when I say different, the power in the body is just different. The way it's kind of comes through in the head, the backbone, is fierce. These are strong, dense fish. And yeah, you can just see it without going too technically into it. From what we see, they're just different. Benny type and style's a bit different. When these actually arrived, because of how they've been kept, they'd kind of not had any colour food for a long time. They weren't really in the best of condition. So we was working from behind really with that one to bring them through. But even now, there's a lovely softness to the Benny still, which will tighten up. We can see, like with this fish, if we get kind of close into that, you can see how much pigment is actually still in the scales there, right in the centre. Absolutely loads of pigment to come, and like with this one that's even softer, so much pigmentation there to start spreading. But I mean, while this is in my hands, just look at that power in the body. You know, that's making these fish look 5 cm bigger than they are. That one is 38 cm. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. These are fish that have still got a long way to go. Ideally, you know, a winter grow on pond would be ideal for them, or some winter growth. But again, just look, that softness, but so much pigment. There's a lot of depth there already, and there's so much more to come from it. But the skin's shine is so good. You can see there, look, as they break the surface. Just delightful. This, look, the power. I mean, look at the face shape. This height here. You know, it's not forgetting really, you know, Momotaro are the guys that made Jumbo such a big deal. They smashed through some serious barriers size-wise before anybody else did, especially with the Kohaku and Sankey. Sankey you don't see so many of at the farm these days, which is a shame, but the Kohaku lines especially have been the foundation of so much other stuff. The Showa line, the Mako Showa, comes from this Mako Kohaku line that they've got, you know, these characteristics being crossed across them varieties. It's just superb. But yeah, what I'm seeing here, I'm just blown away by. Really am. I mean, this piece, look. Same again, it's a male fish, but just look at the body line, body setup. Extreme growth to come from it moving forwards. Really high skin quality again. And that's another point to focus on. These are fresh out the growing pond today. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to expect that Shiroji to really start tightening up a bit, cleaning up. And this Benny, like on these ones, it will actually start thickening up and unifying, becoming a bit more uniform. But a lot of that is still age related, in all fairness. But even just every fish you look at, look, the backbone here, power. Seriously good power at the peduncles. Well, I mean, look at this. the height as well. There's a Japanese word they use to describe the body height called taiko, and this really has it. I mean, look at that from the side profile, from the head there up into the dorsal, amazing height. Beautiful. And that one, look, just stunning. So really, really impressed. Momotaro Koi Farms, no slouch. Like I say, getting the stuff. The prices they still command, serious stuff, and like I say, popularity and demand is what's driving that. So yeah, really happy with these, and they are actually now, let's say, being put outside. They'll be conditioned before being photographed and actually listed out for sale, either through one of our events or on the website. But yeah, happy chap. Certainly it's put them guys top of my list for some more, for actually really getting back early in the season, pushing these and seeing what we can really do with them with a full season behind them. So yeah, happy days. And a few more to come yet. I've got some more in another pond. They actually separated out. The funny bit of all this is these were actually the smaller fish at the time. I left them behind in that pond. There weren't too many of them, but then they've had the luxury of that condition. The rest I moved to another pond, and to be honest, I completely overstocked it with other stuff as well, and it's just not been performing well. But now we've stripped that right back, they're starting to kick in as well, so they'll likely get pushed through to the end of the year before we look at them. But for now, let's just take a moment and just enjoy the quality of what's in here, and yeah, a moment to appreciate the quality of this Momotaro bloodline.